We realized with the barbecue and the escalation of meat pricing was that we wanted to provide family-friendly options to people. So one of the new things we just put on the menu, we have our chopped barbecue, which is, for lack of a better term, a mix of chopped brisket and pulled pork, but it allows us to season it and sauce it, and it's actually delicious. I prefer it to chopped brisket, but it allows us to get the price point more friendly to any budget. But here you can get 2 pounds of that, 8 brioche signature baking buns, a 1 pound side, and all the fixings for 45 bucks. So that works out to about $5.55 a sandwich, not including the side we basically toss in. So we kind of did that as a way to bring people in and allow them to feed a group without having to hit that really crazy high mark on barbecue. So our chopped barbecue is one of our biggest sellers, and we love it, and we want you guys to come try it too. So you don't have to come get the ribs and get all the fancy schmancy stuff. Come get a chopped barbecue sandwich and give us a shot. What I think I love about barbecue is that every day there's something that I think I could have done a little bit better. Every day there's a new challenge for me to fix what I think could have used improvement yesterday. So right here you've got your Black Angus 1855 brisket. Right here you can kind of see we got a nice render, we got a nice cap. We smoked these on a mix of post oak and pecan on our Oiler 1300. Down here you've got a strip of fajita turkey down there in the bottom. We go ahead and season that. Well, let's get back to brisket. So we season this with the basic salt, pepper, garlic, nothing special. We run a couple different pepper layers and then move up on it. This took us about, on the Oiler, we're about 10 hours on these. I run them for about 4 hours at 180, which is equivalent to a cold smoke on the rotisserie. And then I crank them up and I cook them for about 4 or 5 more hours. It's about 175, 180 internal. And then I'll go ahead and take them, wrap them. We do use paper. I find that the paper allows us to wrap earlier while maintaining internal moisture and allows us to plump the brisket up a little more rather than when I used to use foil for a long time. You had to take it so far with foil to maintain your bark that I found that if I could wrap it earlier, I was able to retain more moisture in the unit, and then the actual finish was a little bit softer to the palate. So that's our 10-hour smoked, post-oak smoked, prime Black Angus brisket. Here are those ribs we talked about earlier. You can see we took them, we let them dry out. These were cooked for about 4 hours this morning, about 2.5 hours up, an hour down over oak. We finished them off with a glaze that is a mix of corn syrup, our barbecue sauce, our Tex-Mex barbecue sauce, and a spice rub that we like to use. It gives it kind of a unique, distinct taste. I'm curious to see if you'll taste it when you get it in there. But the glaze just gives them a good, sweet, savory finish. We do incorporate some fajita rub into our salt pepper mix. That also gives it a different savory hit than with a traditional rib, keeping in theme with kind of the Tex-Mex background I have from San Antonio. This is our Prairie Fresh Seaboard Farms pork shoulder. We smoke those for about 10 hours. We finish them with the topper of our Tex-Mex barbecue sauce. And we like to shred and pull, but we don't really chop because we want to keep it pulled. And so our goal is to maintain the moisture set in there so that without having to chop it and over sauce it, that you guys will still enjoy the bite. Down here we've got our smoked turkey breast. It is brined. We finish it with a base coat of mayonnaise. I find the mayo, if you keep it thin enough, it actually allows for the inside to cook. And I tried it without. I thought it was kind of a useless step, and then when I tried it without, it actually dried out the exterior. So we found that putting that mayo, it actually melts down the oil, almost bastes the outside while it's smoking. And then that's a mix of, I do a 3-layer rub. We put pepper down first, then a light thing of salt, and then some fajita seasoning. And it adds to the vibrance of the color, but it also gives it a unique flavor finish that you may not see at other places. That's how we get that real deep, darkish maroon mahogany look. Coming around on our sides, we've got our chado beans that we talked about, topped with cotija cheese and cilantro. These guys are cooked overnight. I'm still old school, man. I run a crock pot. Now I run a very big 10-liter crock pot and 2 or 3 of them, but we run them overnight with pork hawks with some spices and blends, and we let them go for about 8 to 10 hours. We come in the mornings, we pull the pork hawk out, and then we cook down some bacon, some onions, and some sausage that we use, and we medallion up. Just 'cause when I grew up, I always had beans that had bacon and sausage in them. We put a chili blend in there, we blend it down, and we mix it in to close the finish, and then we top it off with some cilantro, and that's what we call our beans. Oh, and some tomatoes as well. This green salsa right here, this is kind of one of my favorites. This is our avocado salsa. This is a mix of avocados, onions, cumin, salt, pepper, your typical spice mix for most Latin cuisine, and a little bit of vinegar. It's a fresh bite that offsets our salt of the brisket and our barbecue sauce and kind of cuts into it and creates a new flavor profile. Here we have our mashed potato salad. This is basically potatoes that are parboiled, finished on the flat top with butter, with a spice mix, red bell peppers, green bell peppers that are all cooked, seared on the flat top. We mix them together. We rough mash them. We let them relax for a little bit and cool down. And then we put them into a uniquely seasoned mayonnaise base. The slight yellow you see there is actually from the butter that we're cooking everything in. So I'm not a mustard potato salad guy, but I do like the color. And I feel the butter lends it to the color, and then it gives it a really good flavor profile. It's not just straight mayonnaise. This is that slaw I told you about earlier. It's got some Costa Rican table salsa in there. We're about a 70% purple to green cabbage ratio. Typical spices, salt, pepper, cumin, garlic. It's a very different take on a coleslaw. So we hope you guys will enjoy that. You can actually get your sandwiches here on a bed of that slaw, and that's really yummy as well. Coming over to our street corn, this is just kind of our take on creamed corn. We've got some mayonnaise in there, some crema, we've got some seasonings. We cook some beef chorizo down, and we use beef specifically because we like the increased amount of grease and color and flavor and chili hit that it adds to the corn base. We flat top sear corn. We add some special blend chili powders to it, and we mix it a real simple dish, but it's savory, it's good, it's hearty, we enjoy it. And then this mac is set up a little bit, but that's we're running a rotini mac this week because our trucks are behind. We typically run a rigatoni mezzi noodle. This is a roux-based mac and cheese sauce. We do mix in a mix of pork and beef chorizo, so we get a mix of the grease, but a mix of the flavor profiles of the two different chorizo sausages. We also we build our roux. We use some milk, some evaporated milk, a good spice packet blend that we like, that we've kind of fine-tuned. We use about 4 cheeses in it, and we've really worked hard to find ways to keep it from staying nice and creamy. But it is more of a pasta dish than a mac and cheese. So you're not going to get the big cheese pull, but what you're going to get is this delicious pasta swimming in this. It is almost like a queso-flavored pasta sauce, and that's what we go for. And it creates a unique bite and a unique dish that we hope that our patrons enjoy, because we really do. All our pickles and onions are made in-house. We pickle them once to twice a week. We use typical red onions, and we use our English cucumbers. I like the seed profile better on those. And then we'll kind of take it over here. We've got our house Tex-Mex barbecue sauce. This is a butter-based barbecue sauce that has onions, oranges, lemons. It's kind of weird. It's got butter, oranges, lemons, Worcestershire, South American table salt. I mean, there's probably about 22 ingredients in that sauce that we make every day. We pull some things out. Tomatoes. We immersion blend it down. The vegetables being blended up is what gives it that nice orangey red hue. And then the butter in it helps coat the meat and create this layer of flavors we like that really complements. My 2-hit combo is mixing the sauce and the avocado salsa in a tortilla with a slice of brisket. I think that's really yummy. These are our house-made tortillas. They're made from scratch with the rendered beef tallow fat that we do in the bag. We make batches 2 to 3 times per week. We press them all by hand, and we cook them all to order as we go. That's pretty much it. Everything here is made from scratch. We try to put... oh, gosh, I'm sorry. We have our 2 house-made sausage, and if you look over here, you can kind of see that cheese right there. We don't run the dehydrated cheese. I find that if you smoke them at a proper temperature, you can run standard sharp cheddar cheese. So we run a jalapeno sharp cheddar, and then we run a Haas Picadillo sausage. Those are both made once or twice a week from scratch. We grind, we mix, we taste, we 24-hour cure, and then we cold smoke for 2 to 3 hours. And then same setup, ice bath, pull them out, let them sit for another hour so that the skin's fully tightened, and then we wrap them up, put them in the fridge, and pull them out and cook them up for service.
Hey guys, welcome to Treviño's Craft Smokehouse in Jacksboro, Texas. I'm Sara Treviño.
I'm Dustin Treviño.
Let's go inside and take a look. All right, so we're walking in here. This is our entryway. We've got seating for about 100 people, so plenty of room for everybody to come on by. We are talking about adding a few more tables. We pushed our order station back, so we've got plenty of room back there for the line to form and get those orders out quickly as well. We've got a fun little thing right here up front. We have a kids play area. We've got a great kids menu and some fun little activities for them to do while they're here, so everybody can bring the whole family, enjoy their barbecue, and the kiddos can be entertained. We have 4 kids, so we get it.
And we have a plant. And our goal with this plant is to keep him or her alive. We haven't really decided what to name it yet.
It's a challenge.
We can make barbecue. We do not do green thumb well, so we're keeping that as a side challenge for we go. One thing to note on these booths, I think is really cool. So some of the history of Jacksboro, Texas is a place called Dairyland Drive-In. Sara worked there in high school. Some of our staff have worked there. But these booths, as you can see, they're not brand new. They've got some love on them from the years. How old was Dairyland open? How long?
How long was Dairyland? I believe was around for at least about 70 years.
Okay. So they opened up, same thing, mom and pop. I heard the stories from them. They would get 2 to 3 customers out the gate. This is way before Jacksboro became what it is today. And they were getting established, and they started with barbecue. And then they became the regional barbecue stop-in for everybody. So really cool history here. When they closed, they actually, it's kind of sad, they just tore the building down. They're gonna put a new building out there. A restaurant group out of the Metroplex is coming out. But these menus up on the wall are from Dairyland's original thing. If you look at that pricing, it's hilarious. Like the good old days. That picture over there is Sara back on the line with David Inman. He was the son that took over for his father. It was Harry, right? Harold Inman, second generation. And then this is Dairyland right here. So we thought it would be a cool tie and a cool homage to Jacksboro's history, barbecue in Jacksboro history, and really Sara's history to tie all this in, because she worked there in high school for years. And
I got to work for Harold and Barbara and David, so this is our little throwback to them. People love to come in and sit in the Dairyland corner, so it's a pretty cool little memory spot.
And then over here we've got our tables, and they are a little rickety, admittedly, but we got them from the owner of Rodeo Goat, and we spent, we got a heck of a deal on them, so thank you. But then we realized that bright orange German beer garden tables didn't quite fit the motif we were going for. So we ended up spending about 48 hours of sanding, burning, sanding again, burning, and sanding again and burning more to get the look and finish there. So we learned a lot about varnish, we learned a lot about scraping, and we learned that German companies do really good with oil-based paints, because it was actually quite impressive getting the paint off. We like the booths because, and Sara can attest to this, I feel barbecue's communal. I want people sitting down and eating together. It's like the energy we feed off of, or I feed off of, is when I see 2 groups of 3 people and we're busy and there's not enough room, so they share a table, and you catch the eyes looking over, and they're catching a bite, and if we do our job and execute, which I hope we do daily, maybe we can create an experience there for two people that didn't know each other. It goes back to our food truck days when we'd be in Hazlitt and you'd have the line of people and just strangers would be talking and drinking free beer, and then when the beer would run out, like without even asking, somebody would run to the store and go buy 2 more cases of beer and throw it in the cooler, and it just turned into this like parking lot party. And we're really trying to capture that vibe here in a small town somewhere where it traditionally doesn't exist, and it's a growth in progress, but we see these flashes on Saturdays or like yesterday where it's just slammed and everybody's just having a good time and talking about what they're eating, and most importantly not talking about the day or work or all the stuff going on outside that may not be as fun as taking a bite of a piece of brisket. So not to get long-winded, but that's what I love about what we do here. So,
and I was going to add to that, it is a cool vibe in here, and we do see a lot of travelers coming out. We're lucky, we're on some great highways here, and people come in, and like Dustin was saying, when we get busy, you will see those groups just like, yeah, we'll sit together, and we get to see that and we love it. So it's a great thing. We love for everybody to enjoy their time here, enjoy eating with each other as a group. The photos on the wall is a little bit of our story, so if we want to walk over there, we can talk a little bit about how we got to where we are today.
starting back there, right?
Yeah, I guess we need to start at the very back, the way back.
Right by my coffee.
Yes. And we've rearranged the restaurant a lot, so some of this is in the office area now. But we started in a food truck out in PK in the COVID era. So that is where we began. And we really began just with a dream. Dustin loved barbecue. So from the very beginning, it's not like we wanted to run a restaurant. We wanted to make the best barbecue out there. So that's what we set out to do. And you can kind of see as you walk down the wall, and I love how customers will come in and place their order, and then they'll kind of come down and look at our story, and they usually come up to me at the pass and tell me how cool it is to see that story and to see our passion come alive with the decoration that also was a very difficult project to do. We hand built all of these frames. So
one thing to note too, you know, and a lot of people know about our story and how we got here. Back in 2015, I was still in oil and gas. I was about 14 years into a 17-year career off and on. We'd built a company and COVID hit and things kind of went sideways, and, you know, we amicably split from the company, and I had, you know, you just call it a non-compete. So I couldn't do what I knew how to do for 18 months. And I always tell people the story, because we were talking about Austin Smokeworks earlier. They're always my offset pit builder. But I called Jason, who's one of Jimbo's guys, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm going to do for the next year and a half. And his exact words, and I'll leave the expletive out, he goes, go sell some barbecue, man. You got the pit. Because I had 1,000 gallons sitting on a trailer, and it just sparked this idea. I had no clue what I was doing. Sara had no clue what she was doing. If you look back at some of the first stuff we put out, it was a learning process, to say the least. But that's kind of how it got started, and it just kind of steamrolled and turned into this little thing. And like Sara said, we started at Possum Kingdom. We opened up on the side of the lake next to a snow cone stand, and we actually had a good draw for what we were doing in the middle of nowhere, and it was summertime, so people were there. And where I feel like we kind of got on the scene, I'll always remember this, Daniel Vaughn had posted a picture of a barbecue joint that went out of business down the road from us on Highway 16, and I commented on it. I said, man, you're in my neck of the woods. Didn't think anything about the comment. Later on, I think he mentioned that he kind of saw it as like not so much a challenge, but like, well, I had to come out. So sure enough, we finish a boat show. I'm up for 24 hours straight, living on Red Bulls, and we're probably open 5 weeks at this point in our existence. And here comes Daniel Vaughn puddling up to our trailer out of left field. I wrote his first menu down his first order down on a piece of paper with like a Sharpie, and it was unlegible. Didn't know what to expect. fed him, didn't know if he'd enjoy it or not, and then he stopped, and we ended up talking for about an hour and a half about the history, about my history, what Sarah's history, what brought our family from Midland there, and it just kind of took off. And from there, we got a write-up that kind of put us, on the map a little bit. And then I think a few months later, the 2021 Top 50 came out, and we made the honorable mentions. And I don't think we were but 5 months old at the time. Had no clue what we were doing, and we're just on this list with all these, like, even on the honorables, like you had Cruz and Pecan Lodge and then Treviño's, which was Sarah, me, and we had a couple staff. So that really kind of kicked things off and really started our journey, and kind of put us in the public eye and allowed us to really start accomplishing goals we had that we didn't even know we had at the time.
Moving down the wall, we have some of our favorite memories. This was really tough to do, to pick out of all of the great memories we had starting up. So we picked our very top memories of festivals and people. The barbecue community is so amazing. It was like we instantly made lifelong friends, people that helped us out that didn't have to. I think it's an industry that is so different than so many others because it's not like you're in competition with each other. Everybody helps everybody. Dustin's on the phone all day, every day, helping barbecue guys, talking together, helping new people that are starting out in the industry. I don't know if you want to go off of that.
And it goes both ways. So what really wilded me out, I remember when I got started, and so this picture, it means a lot to me because you got Ernie and Flacco right there from Panther City. I remember when I was getting started, my ribs were just rough, and I couldn't figure out my bark set and how I wanted to get things finished up. And I hit up Ernie one day, and open book, man. Went there, spent time in the pit room, walked me through a bunch of stuff. I think there's this camaraderie with barbecue guys that what I've come with it, coming into year 5 total, year 1 to close, going into year 2 in the restaurant, is that it's so hard and so almost crazy to an extent to do what we're doing and try to maintain the levels we're doing and scale it and maintain cost structure, that it's like I can tell you exactly what I do, or they can tell me exactly what they do, and really you've just got to have the drive to kind of learn from it, make it your own. So to be somewhere that was not competitive, but it was kind of like, hey man, we're all in the same fight together, that was huge. I mean, right here, they took us out to get us some exposure to a festival, and I think I probably made 100 Flacco's tacos. Terribly at that. Thanks Ernie for letting me do that with you guys. They had Sara in the front, and it was the first time we saw major volume like that, where I saw how many tacos you would make at a festival, and I would have never had that experience, and we would have never had that experience without the guys at Panther City. They really kind of took us under our wing and helped us grow. And that was just a real big part of our experience as we...
You've got a couple others here. This is the Food Truck Championship in Graham, Texas. We actually won Best Barbecue. I think it was that year. We went a few times. The For the Love of Barbecue Festival right there. Keep on coming down. There's a couple of our Austin Smokeworks pits.
Shout out Jimbo.
Woohoo!
And Jason.
Here's a tray that we built for Pat Green and his band. They were at a private party. Those guys are awesome. Dustin became pretty good friends with their manager, so we got to do some fun stuff with them. Shout out to them.
Appreciate you, Brad.
Here's some more of the barbecue guys, and then the Fort Worth Food and Wine, the Ring of Fire. That was a fun festival. And
again, not to sound like I'm gushing on the Panther guys, but we showed up to Fort Worth Food and Wine. We had no help at the time. And Chris and Ernie had their whole team. We were doing carne guisada, taco slides, and we were doing sausage. And they literally looked over and saw how slammed we were, the two of us just trying to keep up. And next thing I know, I look up and half the Panther team is back there making tortillas, folding them up. I can't say enough about how much that meant to us, and it's just camaraderie. And this picture up here, you got Dane. You got Zavala, Smokeaholics, Danes. You got Panther. It's just when you get us together and then you turn off the crowd and it's done. It's really cool to hang out and enjoy that time with those people. And for us being the newcomers at the time, we just were so honored to even be in a circle with the guys. And now that we see how hard this is from a restaurant standpoint, not 2-3 days a week now. I mean, we're open 4 days a week, but we're here every week and we're cooking every week. The appreciation for what they've done and what they've built is just wild to me. And I really appreciate them opening the doors to a couple newcomers running a food truck in the middle of nowhere. So that was really cool.
All right. So passing by, after we started out at PK, we took the food truck over to Hazlitt, and that was our first taste of we're in the city, people lining up, big crowds. We were at the old Lee's barbecue spot set up with our truck. So that's Lee right there. You can see up there at the top, this is when I was about 9 months pregnant with our fourth, Palmer. So super hot, sweaty in that food truck in that picture.
That was a cool time. I mean, we'd get opened up on a Saturday. You'd have anywhere from 150 people lined up to 200, and you would just get wall to wall for 3.5 hours just trying to serve everybody. It's what we talked about, the communal attitude. People had waters, we gave away beers, people went and got more beers. It was right after COVID wrapped up, so everybody had lifted up, was excited to get outside, and it was just kind of right place, right time, and we just had so much fun out there. It was hard, it was crazy, but it was fun, and I'll never forget that, just that experience of taking tables and throwing them in a parking lot from a building that's dilapidated and just having people show out for food you're cooking. I mean, it's humbling, and it really, it locked me in. I mean, from that point forward, I was like, this is what I want to do with the rest of my days. I mean, oil and gas is great, the money's fun, I get all that, but this meant something, and you felt fulfilled, because again, like we talked about, if as a group we can do something that gives 5 minutes of relief from your day and shifts focus to something like a really good bite of food, that's pretty cool, I think.
I think a really cool part about the experience in Hazlitt is we still have those people following us. When we opened here on day one, we had multiple groups of people come in that were like, we used to go out to your food truck in Hazlitt, and that was 2 years before we opened our doors here. So it was really cool to see that they were still following us and that they would make the trip out here an hour and a half from Hazlitt to come see us. So it's pretty neat that those people hung on with us and are still coming out to support us. Moving down, we did a brief stint. Our Treviño's tortillas that everybody loves, we were actually selling those to a bunch of barbecue joints for a while. So that's before one of Dustin's really good barbecue buddies who I mentioned he's on the phone with all day, every day, featuring our tortillas on one of their tacos, and baby number 4 and the food truck championship up there.
Yeah, Nolan and I talk a lot because we have very similar backgrounds. He's in Maybank, I'm in Jacksboro. He's pretty much in the Jacksboro of the other side of the Metroplex. And obviously they're much more established. They've done so much and so many great things. It's really good to kind of go back and forth with somebody that was in the grind, dealt with the days where 10 people show up and then the next day where 80 people show up, and now he's to the point where his baseline is consistent, but there's still struggles. So when I'm having, it's barbecue. When I need to talk to somebody about something, there's a good chat to have, and vice versa. This was just one of our trays we built a while ago as we were continuing to hone our craft, try to get better.
Last 2 sections. Let's see, another great guy that we've met along the way, the ginger food blogger. He's come out several times when we were in Hazlitt. This is a trip that he made out, I believe, once we reopened over here at the food truck park in Jacksboro. So he came by, took some great pictures. We got to catch up with him again after a 1-ish to 2-year stint pause. He came out immediately when we opened back up, so it was cool to see him again. All right, so last section here. This is the family. when we were about to open up at our brick and mortar. So this was kind of our celebration photo to let people know that we were doing it. Here we are with our borrowed pit that we were working with at the time.
So Jimbo let me borrow his 1,000-gallon personal pit, and it's actually still at my house right now. And that allowed us to get off the ground with a limited runway and take what money we did have and put it into the building and equipment. Nicest guy in the world. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for a pit, and he's like, dude, I got one. It's sitting here collecting dust. Use it as long as you need to. He's never pressured me once. And again, that goes back to the brotherhood of barbecue. Never asked for $1. Just let me borrow it, asked that I take care of it, and I've done that, and I'm just so thankful to that, because that really helped us get launched. Over here is our relaunch. So this was just, we thought it'd be fun to take one of those cheesy pit guys. Yeah.
He wanted the smoky pit guy, serious barbecue.
So we did it ourselves, and then afterwards.
Actually, I think our son took this picture.
Yes, and then afterwards, I got my official pit pick. Ministers of Smoke came out and took a shot, and I thought that was really cool. And it's always something I'd wanted to do. I just thought it was kind of fun. Yeah, that's kind of our chronological.
Chronology.
That's our chronology. That's what we're going to run with right there. Kind of led us here. So food truck, food truck. Hiatus for fourth kid. Went back to the oil field for 2 years. Very thankful to the people that employed me while I was there, but I was not really feeling it. I kind of felt I needed to be doing something else and getting to the point in our lives where the kids become more important, fulfillment becomes more important. The money is obviously not the same, but we're finding comfort in different things. And we're going into year 2 now. We're growing at a decent pace. We are in the middle of nowhere. We know it, but our town is behind us. And we have a great traveling byway in front of us. And people are starting to find out. And we're just praying that this is the year we break out and really kind of start hitting those initial stretch goals that'll help us continue to grow. There's some alliances that have come into our way, and we're super excited about talking about those in the near future. We're pumped for the future of the brand. We're pumped that we got to spend the last year here learning, and the next couple of years here learning, and that our community has been so patient with us while we do that. And as our schedule changes frequently while we're getting things figured out, and as we dial things in and train new people to dial things in again, we've learned that running a restaurant versus a truck is just a whole different animal. You have to start letting go of what you would cook yourself, and you have to start getting people to buy in with you and get them to the level of execution that can maintain the product as closely as you can to its original form. But I think that Sara and the team are doing a fantastic job with that. They hide me in the back cooking barbecue, and I'm happy as a clam to do it. So speaking of, I got to pull ribs off, but if you guys are cool with it, I'll take a couple minutes and then we'll do that. All right, guys, so once you kind of get through the front of the restaurant and you work your way down, we like to kind of feed the line this direction, and we'll feed you into Aaron over here, who's happy to take your order and get you what you want. We've got our menu posted up here. I'll kind of give you a brief rundown because I like our first timers to really understand that everything on our menu is pretty much splittable. We keep to the kind of standards of the barbecue scene, but we've kind of got a little bit for everybody. So obviously we've got our prime brisket, and we're running 1855 prime Black Angus brisket. We've got our smoked turkey breast. We call it our fajita turkey breast because of the way we season it. We do make our house sausage and house jalapeno, so we will fix that spelling later. But we've got our house sausage links, our house jalapeno cheddar sausage links. We do ribs by the quarter rack, half rack, or full rack, and then we've got pulled pork as well by the pound. But what we really think the best bang for buck here at Treviño is if you've got a group, is feeding your group. We've got the burro platter. It feeds 8 to 12 people at about $200. You got 2 pounds of brisket, pound of turkey. It's this guy right there. Pound of pulled pork, a full rack of ribs, and then we throw in 3 32-ounce sides or 6 1-pound sides. And then you can very much cut that in half and feed 4 to 6 with the Tiger, which is a pound of brisket, half a pound of turkey, half a rack of ribs. Kind of similar story, a little smaller. We make all our tortillas from the rendered beef tallow fat that we get off our briskets. So we give you the option, do you want Martin's potato bread or would you like some homemade tortillas? I like tortillas because I like making tacos with my barbecue. And then a fun one we did, I grew up going to the flea market with my grandma, the pulga, and we kind of said, because it's kind of a little bit of everything like you get at a flea market. So this comes with lean brisket, fatty brisket, turkey, pulled pork, ribs, comes with an 8 ounce of all our sides, comes with tortillas and bread, and it's $57, and it feeds an easy 2 to 3 people. So we think that's a pretty good deal to kind of get a little bit of everything we have to offer as a restaurant. So for the individual diner, we've got our 1 meat, 2 meat, 3 meat trilogy, and this is kind of the workhorse of our menu. We tend to see a lot. Our 1 meat comes with a ½ pound of meat, 1 pound of sides in 2 8 ounce increments. It comes with barbecue sauce, avocado salsa, pickles, onions, tortillas, and Martin's bread, a little bit of both or one or the other. The 2 meat plate, we go from a ½ pound to 2/3 pound, and we still get you a pound of sides, and then you get all the fixing as well. And then when you jump up to the trilogy, you're going to get about 3/4 pound of meat. It is set up for brisket, ribs, and sausage, but you can substitute whatever you want. We're easy around here. But what you will get is 3 sides with that. So you jump up to a pound and a half of sides. So we like to tell like husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, couples, or just somebody really hungry, but that's a heavily splittable plate. Come in, 2 you guys get that, you're at a 30 price point, you get 2 drinks, you're in $37, and then the 2 y'all can eat it, split that in half, and then you can take some home to go as well. So they are heavy, but they are very splittable. As far as our handhelds, our smallish bites, the 1 plate we designed for the smaller appetite is a Sara plate. That's a 1/3 pound of meat and 2 4 ounce sides. That's pretty much a rounded plate of what you should be eating for a day. But I don't. I get the 2 meat plate. But if you want something smaller and you don't want to kind of go and eat yourself full and you got a big day after lunch, try the Sara plate. Pro tip, get a Sara plate with ribs because we still haven't found a way to do a 1/3 pound of ribs. So you're still going to get about 3 bones on that guy. We've got our loaded spud. That thing is on a 40 count russet, which basically means the potato itself is darn near a pound and a half. We put a 1/3 pound of the protein of your choice on there. It's variable. You can do our chopped barbecue, you can do chopped brisket, you can do ribs, and we'll put them on the side. You can do turkey or sausage. We put our mac queso sauce on there, cheese, butter, kind of sour cream, and barbecue sauce, and it is really yummy. They're massive, huge meal. You'll take some stuff home. The barbecue sandwiches, you can get any meat you want. It comes on a signature bakery brioche bun, and it'll be the sandwich, pickles, onions on a bed of our house-made coleslaw. Now for $4 more, you can actually add an 8 ounce side and drink to that. So you can get in and out of a sandwich for about 15, 16 bucks. We know barbecue's crazy, so we try to make the menu as accessible as possible because we have a big family as well. I got 4 kids, 12 and down, so we understand that as much as we love barbecue, sometimes it's not the right fare for everybody, but we try our hardest to get there. Our desserts are pretty simple. We take our tortilla dough and we fry it and we make buñuelos. So you can take a cinnamon sugar based buñuelo with honey to dip in, or the fun dessert we have is our banana pudding sopapilla bowl. So it is a fried bowl of our tortilla dough, fried, dusted with cinnamon and sugar, and it is fried in beef tallow, dusted in cinnamon and sugar, and Sarah's cream cheesecake banana pudding custard inside, topped with whipped cream and a Maria cookie. And those are really, really yummy. When we run pork belly specials on the weekend, you can also get a pork belly burn-in on that as well for an additional charge. That's pretty much it. It's a basic barbecue menu. We run specials all the time, but our sides, that's what. So this is kind of one thing we do a little different is we have all our sides, well, everybody makes them from scratch, but ours really stick to what I grew up with in San Antonio. So our mac is a chori queso mac. It's a roux-based macaroni sauce with a rigatoni mezzi noodle in it. Today you're getting rotinis because our trucks ran late, but typically it's a rigatoni mezzi noodle. We run our chotto beans, and that's a 2-stage beans. It's got bacon, it's got sausage in there, it's got onions, tomatoes. It's just kind of good hometown chotto bean. We do our mashed potato salad, which is a different spin. It is a mayonnaise-based potato salad, but we've got some butter in there that we cook the potatoes down with. It gives it a little bit of a yellow hue without the bitterness of a mustard. Our seitan slaw, it's got some Costa Rican table salsa and some other flavors that are unique to a coleslaw. It's purple cabbage heavy, really fresh, takes the bite of the salt out. We really kind of enjoy that. And then we got some fries. Really simple. We got some crinkle curly fries and we put a little seasoning blend that's specific to Treviños that people tend to enjoy. But that's pretty much it. If you're coming for a first time, I'd say if it's two of y'all, maybe split a trilogy or a pulga. If you got a group, go ahead and give it a tiger a shot. You'll have everything you need to make sandwiches, tacos, tortillas, and we will accommodate any need you have. You want buns instead, we'll get you buns. So we just kind of want to see you and get a shot to feed you. All right, so welcome back to Treviño's. We are in our pit room, or as you would call it, it's a pit slab because it's basically a slab of concrete with an oiler on it. We started off with Jimbo's Austin Smokeware's 1,000 gallon, but as you can tell here, I've only got about a 20 by 10 pad to work with. The city was very lax and very laid back with us because before we had our smokestack here and we were actually carrying about 4 to 5 feet into our neighbor at Mr. Reuter's property. Thank you again, Trey, because they were super cool about it, super laid back, let us take up half their property line while we got things rolling. But then eventually we did have the long goal where we knew the only pit that would fit in here was going to be a oiler JNR type rotisserie pit. And the reason being is when you're stuck with a 10 by 20 space, but you need the capability to grow into something that can cook 30, 40 briskets at a time, that's tough to do with one offset. If we get to the volume we want to get to, which we're still at least a year from, we're gonna need the capability. Right now, we're using about half of this pit, but it still allows us to do everything we need to do in such a tight space. And then what else we've learned about it since we brought it on is that our wood consumption is down 50%. And there was about a 5-week learning curve, and we're always learning. Like, you'll never hear me say I'm completely happy with everything coming off the pit, because I don't think you ever should be. Not to go on another tangent, but that's what I think I love about barbecue, is that every day there's something that I think I could have done a little bit better. Every day there's a new challenge for me to fix what I think could have used improvement yesterday. Every week there's a different batch of sausage that I can tweak something that I liked or didn't like, and something about that just keeps bringing you back because it's never the same twice. You can follow the bulletproof thing verbatim, but every brisket's gonna cook different, every rack's gonna cook different, every piece of wood is gonna burn different. And especially out here in the rural area, we are really challenged with finding good, consistent wood suppliers. We've got someone bringing 3 cords out on Saturday, and we're hoping that that will be a good solution to something we've kind of struggled with for a while. As far as the woods we run, I will try to cook with oak and pecan. I would love to cook with post oak, but out here, again, it's really hard to find a supplier that will species identify, sort, and separate and split pure post oak into one bin. You're not going to get that. A lot of the providers out here are fireplace providers. They're providing firewood. So when they ask me what I cook with, frankly, it's whatever I can get my hands on. So right now I've got some pecan in there. It's from a standing dead tree. It is pretty green, to be brutally honest. You can see there's not a lot of color to it. It's getting the job done, but I would like it to sit for a few months. We're bringing in 3 loads of post oak that has been seasoned and aged. We're excited about that. I like pecan because there's no post pecan, pin pecan, red pecan, white pecan. There's just pecan. So if you can find a good steady source of good split aged pecan, it's a great mellow wood to run, especially in these oilers, and I'll explain why in a minute. Post oak leaves a little bit more of a flavor, especially in these pits, but I am still looking for that perfect wood person. So if you're out there, holler at me. We only go through about 1.5 cords to 2 cords a month, but we're consistent. So back to the JNR oiler. What these guys did was create a beautifully simple machine that allows you to get the wood smoke experience without having to constantly manipulate your firebox. Initially, when J&R started, and I don't want to speak towards them, but my impressions of a J&R pit were that you were getting places that were loading them up to the brim with wood, going home at night, coming back in the morning. You kind of had that sooty smell to things because the way they operate is they will ramp up the fire, build on coals, and they will stomp themselves out when they achieve their temperature. And if you have too much wood in there and it stays stomped out for prolonged periods of time, your wood tends to smolder, and that creates kind of a smoke you don't want. What I think the wave has been in the last 5 years is a lot of accredited pitmasters, much more accredited than what I'm doing out here, took these pits from J&R and from Mike Miller at M&M and really figured out how can we get the product that we get off an offset and put it off an oiler so that we can increase our capacity with limited space, reduce the skill set necessary to keep the fire where it needs to be, and maintain a quality product. And what they found is that when you build a good coal bed, use less wood, use the concrete in there, I'll show y'all in a second, to maintain your heat, lower your temperatures down, really let it do what it wants to do, you can pretty much replicate really close, maybe not perfect, but close enough and create a really good product on one of these. So you hear the hum in the background. What's going on here is that is our rotisserie. And I'll kind of open her up. You end up with 2 racks. We really have 3, but I don't have the capacity to have to throw the 3rd rack in. So you got your bottom rack, your top rack. And you've got, this is where I would load stuff. So you see wood, right? If you get wood that's not quite ready to go, you'll see that I'm throwing wood in here to preheat it. What this allows, it allows me to throw it in the firebox and allows it to catch quicker, and any remnant moisture in there, it's not going to cook it all out, but it may make it easier for it to catch and get past that area so it can create the BTUs that I need without having to put too much wood. For me in this pit, it's a juggle of how much wood can I put in to maintain the heat of the concrete that is what cooks radiantly, but also produce enough smoke to get the color and the flavor I want on our proteins. If I have wood that is too moisture heavy, I have to put more in the firebox because it won't burn efficiently and won't create the heat I need to actually cook at the right pace. And then it tends to create more offset smoke, a dirtier smoke that can lead to flavor impairment of the proteins I'm trying to cook. So that's kind of what we've been struggling with the big freeze. A lot of wood guys got wiped out. So we've been working around it, but it will be nice to get some stuff in here that makes things run a little more consistent. You'll notice also I put foil here. So one thing I do on the ribs, what I love about ribs is on my offset, I was a 6-7 hour rib cook. Here I'm about 2.5 hours with the meat side up, about half an hour with the meat side down. I'm wrapping, and I'm about 1.5 hours wrapped, and then I'm done in about 4 hours. The ribs you guys saw earlier, we put on, started late this morning, admittedly. We put on at about 6, and we had them done by about 10:30, so about 4.5 hours, 4:45. I like to put, you can see there's some grease pulled in here. I like to put a piece of foil down here. This will get thrown away as soon as we're done here today. And what I'll do is I'll line the ribs up on the top, but I'm basically creating a drip tray, because I've also got another set of ribs all the way over here. And what I want is, as they're dripping their juice, I don't want it dripping on top of the next rack of ribs, because what that's going to do, it pelts it and it creates these little holes in your bark. Some people don't care. I do. I just like that aesthetic, beautiful offset look on a rack of ribs. And I find that if I put something underneath when I'm running top rack, and then when I'm cooking briskets, I'll actually run the briskets on the bottom rack, and I'll run a sheet of foil over the top so they don't drip onto each other as well. It's just something I do. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's been turning out a pretty good product that we're happy with. So the way this guy works, I'm trying to clear it to like a clear rack so you can see. If you look back there, you'll see that hole. And if you look tight in there, you'll see that that hole is lined with concrete. It's lined with a high temperature concrete. So what I'm doing first thing in the morning is, we'll come over this way if you got a second. So if you kind of step over here, just standing right here, I'm catching a ton of radiant heat from this door and a ton of radiant heat from this concrete. Like I'm putting my hand right there and it's pretty hot. So I wouldn't get your camera too close. What happens is I put about 5-6 sticks in here and burn them down. It's gonna preheat all this concrete. This is that high temp concrete. And it basically creates an oven of sorts where this is hot, you're sealing it. There's a hole in the top and it goes all the way up into the chute and out to that hole you saw earlier. That is all lined with concrete too. Once all that concrete's hot, that's actually what's cooking my product. So I've got my coal bed and then I'm only responsible for throwing 1 to 2 logs on there to maintain the heat, to maintain my coal bed, but to create the smoke that I need to actually smoke my meats while they cook. If I were to just fill this up with coals, close it and throw my meat on, it'll look like it, and nothing wrong with Traegers, hell, I've got one at home, but it'll look like a Traeger that didn't get a good cold smoke. It'll be light, pale, mellow yellow kind of look. And then once I'm loaded, I'm coming in here and I'm kicking this shut. What they've got is this damper, and what this does is when it achieves its desired temperature, so I'm set at 200, when this thing hits 200, he's gonna close. And it's gonna choke the fire off. And when it chokes that fire off, it's gonna take all that smoke and envelop it into the chamber and kind of fill it. You don't want that to happen for more than a minute or 2 at a time. So if I put too much wood, and this is what I learned in the first 5 weeks during that really growth phase, if you put too much wood in there and don't have enough coals, it puts too much smoke in the chamber before it clears it out. And then you can end up with kind of a, just not a desired flavor profile. But if you run it to where it'll close every once in a while, open after a minute or 2, close, open, it keeps the chamber full with enough smoke while allowing smoke to clear out. And where it doesn't have the pull and the draw of an offset, it still has enough movement in there to catch your pepper and coat and create whatever the bro science processes that turns meat into barbecue. So that's what I find. There's also, back to the pit area, you'll see there is this chute down here on the bottom left. There is a valve on the back side that opens and closes, and then there's a chute that opens and closes. What happens is when it hits temperature, that valve closes, the valve on the firebox closes, and Ryan, if I am butchering how your pit works, I apologize, but that's my understanding of it. And it allows it to fill up. Once this guy right here, the red dips below there, hear that sound? That was that closing. And then if you look over here, see that little hole in the door? See how it's closed now? I'll show you. You can say, okay. So that is now closed. So that would be choking my fire off and closing, and then closing that fire. Then it'll start building smoke, right? And then once it goes under the temperature, you hear that? Now that valve has opened on that bottom chute. And then you look right here and that guy's open. And now your fire's breathing again. When that valve opens, all that smoke that is built up runs out that bottom hole, and you'll see it start coming out the stack in the top. So my goal is to like let it close a little bit, fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up, let it open, clear out, clear out, clear out, clear out. And you're just playing that dance the whole time you're cooking. If you put too much wood and it closes for an hour, you're gonna taste it. If you don't put enough wood and it never closes and it never actually builds up, you're gonna see it in less of a bark build. If you have green wood and you're having to put more wood than you need to, and it's not burning clean, you'll see it in this pit. It's a little, for me at least, it's a little pickier for like an offset where you can manipulate airflow a lot. But dollars for dollars, being 6 weeks into it, knowing that in a year it's probably going to be even more dialed in, like I understand why Brandon over at Hurtado's runs these across the board. I think they're fantastic units. It's very trainable, it's very repeatable, and it's saved me a ton of time. Also, because of the encapsulated and very well sealed design, I don't know how that plays, bro science again, but the texture we're getting on things is phenomenal. I think our briskets, the finish in the flat has been a ton juicier. The points have been fantastic. The ribs have just started to come off great. The turkeys have been awesome. and my time savings has been fantastic. We're able to replicate what we did on the offset. A 4-hour turkey breast takes 2. 7-hour rack of ribs takes 4. This is the big one. A 15-hour brisket is now taking us 9 to 10, depending on what kind of wood we're working with, what the weather's like, things like that. So overall, coming into my 2nd or 3rd month running it, I'm happy as a clam with this J&R oiler. We bought this one used. Ryan and the team came out, changed out all our valves, changed our this, got us up and running. And if I were starting a barbecue joint tomorrow, knowing what I know now, if we ever expand and add units, this is what we will be building on moving forward. I know there's some of that stigma to, run an offset, but to me, I think we're creating the same product that I'm comfortable putting out with this unit than we are over there. There's definite ways to not use these pits, in my opinion, but I do like what we're doing with it. And again, kudos to Brandon and Craig over at Terry Black's for same deal, the barbecue family. I called Craig yesterday and was like, dude, I have no clue how to cold smoke sausage on this. I had literally been taking all my sausage from here in bins, running it to the 1,000-gallon offset at my house, smoking it over there, putting it back in bins, running it over here, dunking it, and getting them finished there. Yesterday we cold smoked sausage. It came out fantastic. That literally just saved me 2 hours a day, twice a week. So really thankful for that tidbit of information from somebody that's making so much barbecue I can't even fathom. So part of the transition process, switching over from the offset to the rotisserie pit, was the temp differential. It's wild to me. So when I do briskets on an offset, I'll cold smoke for 2 hours and then I'm ramping straight to 265, and I'm basically cooking for 5 to 7 hours until my bark's set. We're through the stall, that fun stuff. And then, in that time, I'm ramping from 265 to 285 to 300. I'm covering edges with foil tips, and then I'm eventually wrapping and finishing them up at 325 to 350 on the pit. And that's with 1,000. You wouldn't do that with a small pit at home. You would take everything down about 20, 30 degrees so you don't burn anything. But then I got to this pit, and it's wildly different. So, for instance, today, the ribs, the sausage, the turkey, everything we cooked this morning, the burgers, we cook at 200 degrees, which sounds crazy, right? Because, it's 200 degrees, that's low and slow. But in these guys, it's not. I've found that, one thing I'll show you is you got this little red bar up here, and God, this is so messy, but that's your temp gauge. So that's where I want to satisfy my temp. But when I do my briskets, man, I'm 180 for 4 hours, and then I'm going to 225, and that's it. When I'm doing any other protein, I'm 200. And the reason being is the way they design it. If you look right here, that's my temp gauge. So if you just think about it in the sense of scope and the build of the pit, and if we kind of pan back, I'll open this door all the way so you can get in. Your hot spot is back there by that big circle full of hot concrete. So every time you're going past that, it's almost like a rotisserie cooker, right? Yeah, you're getting the convective heat from the concrete, but every time it passes, it's getting hotter, and then it's getting colder, and then it's hotter. So to have your temp gauge over here and have your heat source over here, what I got from Trey and the other guys that gave me some advice is to think about a 25 to 35 degree differential. So if I'm running 200, I'm really running 235. To me, 200 in here feels like 255 all day. Once I get upwards of 225 to 235, I'm hearing sizzling. Things are hitting the metal and it's sizzling. The racks are super hot. If I put stuff on, I've noticed the ribs will actually, if I flip them and it's too hot in here, part of my learning process, I learned that it would actually scald the face of the ribs, and I didn't like that. So I found that 200 for us and for this specific pit, not so much a specific 1300E, but our specific 2020 used 1300E, 200's the number. And this thing's been calibrated and all that fun stuff, but it's just very different. But it also uses less wood, it's less to manage, and it gets it done, and it allows me to, that's the thing, it allows me to build the bark I want to build while the product is actually rendering its fat and breaking down collagen and whatever else to get to the texture desired. I tried out the chute cooking at 245, 250. Yeah, you can blast a rack of ribs in 2.5 hours, but it's going to look like you cooked it in an oven. And that's what I learned. So one thing to note on these, there's not a lot of people talking about how to run them, and I had to learn the hard way. It is literally, I wouldn't call it low and slow because I don't think it plays out that way, but I use this more like a gauge. Like to me, 200 is probably not 200, but I know that at 200, my ribs are done in 4.5 hours and I can color them up the way I want. My turkeys are done. So something to keep in mind with these. That's just one of the major differences. We'll kind of go over here and look at wood. Again, this is our wood pile. I would say this wood is good and serviceable. This is just pecan. It's from a standing dead tree. For my preference, I'd like it to sit for another month or two. Much to my father-in-law's chagrin, he has about a cord of mixed bag oak down the street at the house he's smart. He actually buys his fireplace wood a year in advance, lets it sit for a year, and that way when he's ready to use it, he does, and he gets it a lot less expensive that way. And he's got a great wood supplier, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab some more wood from him today and get our brisket cook done. We will be cooking later than normal, but it's fine. The weather's great, it's nice outside, and you know, I love doing it. But that's pretty much, I mean, this is my pit room. I mean, we're gonna pull these out, we're gonna replace them with new racks. We're gonna have post oak 2 deep, 1, 2, 3 here Saturday, 1 right here. We've got our trash can for ash catch. We've got our brush burner. I use this to start my fires in the morning. They're like $60 at a hardware store, and then you get yourself a propane tank. If you got a small pit, maybe that's a little bit overkill, but for what I'm doing, it's perfect.
All right, I'm gonna bring y'all in here and give you a tour of our kitchen. So if you'll come this way, well, we built out our kitchen. We did get some used items. We bought some things new. So if you're building your first kitchen or if you're on a budget, I can tell you some things that you can probably find used that are still great. Some of the things in here we've had for years, like 5 years, and they've been amazing. With some tweaks, you can keep them running great. We've had this refrigerator in, I think, all of our food trucks, so it is good. We've had an electrician come out and tweak things on it throughout the years, but that's our walk-in for the kitchen. We did get this oven new, so it's nice. It's got rack storage for your full sheet trays, and it works well. We hold some things in there during service. It's got like a cook and hold option, so that's good. Fryer, flat top, and our 6-burner stove we all got new. Dustin would have to tell you the actual supplier we got them from, but when we came from the food truck to the kitchen, that was something that we had to get, because before we just had like the little burners in the food truck, so we had to upgrade to a big fryer. It's great. We fry with beef tallow. We use it for our fries. Our desserts are made with our house-made tortillas, and we fry those little bowls and cinnamon sugar them. So that's what we use that fryer for. Flat top, we don't use a ton, but we do cook our corn for our street corn on there. And on really busy days, we'll do tortillas or burgers on there as well. It was burger day, so we're a little greasy over here, but we cook all of our sides obviously on the stove, but then during service we tend to have a burger pan, a bun pan, and a tortilla pan, because they have different greases and juices and temperatures, so we'll kind of have 3 designated areas. If we were to get another stove, we would upgrade to an 8 or 10 burner stove, because when you start to batch cook or cook in these big stock pots and pans, you kind of need more room. So maybe one day, hopefully sooner than later, we'll get a bigger stove. Lots of table space. Table space is very important. We have an island in the middle where we are prepping in the morning and then cooking, or during service we'll do like tortillas, buns, and any toppings that we use from stove or flat top to the plate will sit right here. And then over here, my meaty, greasy cutter station. This warmer we have had probably for about 5 years. So Alto Sham, amazing. I think we even bought this secondhand. So again, these are great if you are calibrating them regularly and keeping up with the temperature. You can get an electrician to tweak them if you need help with your warmers. But Alto Sham, really, really great brand. They've been great for us. Big wooden cutting board. We've got my rigged up heat lamps, because if you've been in a food truck or in a barbecue kitchen where you need to keep the meat hot, you also know probably the legs are getting in your way. So I've hung mine up so that they're close enough to the food but out of my way on the surface. This is the pass, where we get everything plated and pass it out to customers. And then over here is our expo area. So this is where we're setting out trays, loading them up under the heat lamp, and then passing them off. We'll tend to have garnishes, toppings, pickles, onions go right here. We put them back in the refrigerator for now because we're through the rush. We keep barbecue sauces, avocado salsas handy to finish out trays. All of our trays, plates, to-go boxes are lined up over here. We're pressing up some more tortillas right now, so that's why this lovely thing is out here. And then we've got hot sides in a steam pan and cold sides in a sandwich prep. So again, we've had these forever. One day we will get a steam table, but for now, this has worked great for us. We also have our sandwich prep here. We've had a few different sizes of these. This one works great right now. We keep cold sides, garnishes, pickles, onions in here, and then backups down below. One thing that has been amazing that we did not have until just recently was this little guy. Kayla jokes because one day Dustin was like, we need a little skinny warmer, and then like the next day he had it. Facebook Marketplace. So this has been great because it keeps the sides and backups out of my meat warmer. So we keep all of the hot sides that they need to refill in the steam table right here during service. So that has been wonderful little addition, our little skinny warmer. This one's a Vulcan, but again, Alto Sham, Vulcan, you can buy them secondhand. If there's any issues with them, electricians can usually fix it right up for you. And we've loved it. Lots of trash cans in here, some rolling carts because heavy batches of things we'll take to other refrigerators and roll them in here. And that's about it.
Next time. Go.
This is our banana pudding cinnamon sugar bowl. So, house-made banana pudding and our fried house-made tortilla, dusted with cinnamon sugar, topped with some whipped cream, more cinnamon sugar, and a little cookie.
Yeah, so we just pulled our sausage off. So this is our house picadillo sausage. Kind of goes back to my roots from San Antonio. Our base has some cumins, chili powder, garlic seasoning. Just think about your standard like taco picadillo, and we wanted to incorporate a little bit of my heritage and culture into the sausage. And then over here we've got our jalapeno sharp cheddars right there. We make them in-house. I actually ground them, cased them, and cured them for 24 hours, cold smoked them last night, and we just finished them on the pit right now. We'll be serving them today fresh. Now, I've got my process of flipping these ribs. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let them flip, and you can see they're kind of like moist and the pepper's a little swollen on them. So I'm going to flip them, and they're gonna sit here for about 10 minutes. And this is kind of a hack I learned by accident. And the accident was I got busy one day and I left them out. I used to actually take them and put them back on the pit and dry them out. And then I found that if you just let them sit, but they have to be hot. So you notice we're flipping them like there was no rest, nothing like that. They're just getting flipped right now. So that steam and that heat is gonna dry this out, and then we'll come back here in about 10 minutes and we'll take another shot before I glaze them. And you'll see a completely different look on the bark, and it'll look just like, oh, those are good. It'll look just like a set of ribs that was never wrapped. And that is something that we've been able to get the texture profile we want, and we've been able to get the aesthetic profile we want on these ribs, and we've kind of come a long way with them from where we started. As far as the guys at home on how do we know they're done, something to kind of look at right here. I want to be able to run my hands, and it's hot, but I want to be able to run my hands underneath there and just have them kind of spider underneath my hands. And I want them kind of mobile the whole, see, like it's right there, it's almost like a, call it like a centipede, right? Like you're kind of, I'm just making sure that like if I lift one part of the rib, I don't want it to plank up. If it planks up in like one big piece, that tells me that it's not broken down yet. So you can kind of go by feel, but while you're getting used to it, you just want to make sure they're going like that. And you see you're kind of lifting up piece by piece. That one's like borderline over because that thing's already breaking up. But right there, that's perfect. So all this white swollen pepper right there, that is actually going to dry back out in the next 10 minutes, and then we're going to glaze them, flip them back over, and throw them back on the pit. So random pit trick that we learned by pure accident. So I'm excited for you to come back in a few minutes and take a look at these. Which is just some corn syrup with our barbecue sauce and some other fun tricks in there. And now we've got a glazed rib. There it is. See how all that dried back out? Doesn't look like it's been wrapped. It's not puffy. Like that's, and I'm gonna go right back down there. I'm gonna get these 2 racks to Sarah for her big pre-order, and then we'll get the rest on the board. Same deal there, look at that. See, it dries right back out. So we're just gonna put a nice little coat of glaze on there, and then we'll flip them over, close them up, and they're ready for lunch. Thanks, Kevin's Barbecue Joints, for coming out and hanging out with us today. To all our awesome patrons, please come visit us, 120 North Church Street. It's Treviño's Craft Smokehouse, 120 North Church Street, downtown square, Jacksboro, Texas. Little piece of America out here in North Texas. Check us out on our Square site online. You can find it through our website. Check us out on @Treviño's Craft Smokehouse on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And we cater and we do deliveries and pickups. Y'all come see us.